Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Oshim Phoenix here with me today. How you doing, Oshim?
I'm great, Cedric. I'm great, man. Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That is exactly correct. What are some of the things that you look forward to giving life to in 2021?
Man, listen, after the year that we had and all the death and despair and loss, brother, to be honest with you, my goals are very simple this year, and it's just to love more. It's just to love more and come from more of a heart space. Because I think last year, a lot of people, because of the loss and the death and COVID, we stayed stuck in our minds, so this year, I'm all about operating from a heart space and just showing love as much as I can, but especially to myself.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think this was a year of understanding, compassion,
yes,
resonance with one another. We've been seeing people who've had traumas kind of grow and emerge, before 2020, and a large conversation about the T word, trauma, has been going on. I mean, trauma has been like one of the words of the year, right? And I think COVID introduced everybody to a little bit of the medicine that is trauma. And I think that in 2021, we're now ready to kind of move forward as a humanity a little bit more. Would you say that?
Oh, absolutely. For me, 2020 was a collective dark night of the soul, and that's when you are sort of forced to face your shadows and your shadows.
Wow.
So it was very, eye-opening for people. A lot of people were just in this position where they had no choice but to level up. You were pushed out of your comfort zone. So, but you said one word, though. You said the word compassion, and it's just so important. That word is so important. And I want people to remember that word because we're going to need a lot of that in 2021.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where are you from, Oshim?
I'm originally from Jamaica, Queens. If y'all ever seen Belly, if you ever seen Belly, then you know what's up. But I'm originally from Jamaica, Queens. I currently reside in New Jersey with my family. And, I represent the East Coast, baby. I represent the East Coast, but I'm soon moving down south. So, I'm excited about that. A lot of changes this year.
That's right. Hey, Nas just couldn't get DMX to go his route, could he?
Yeah. If you watch that movie again, man, there's a lot of gems in there. But, man, it's just one of those things, man, where we came up in an environment that really didn't foster change or support growth. It was all about, just survival. It was just all about, trying to get past this thing that we call the crack era, and that's the era that I grew up in. And the neighborhood that I grew up in was one of the main neighborhoods where the crack era began. We had the Supreme Team. We had all these different gangs and violence and police brutality, all these things that were working against us as children. So we didn't really get an opportunity to grow in the fashion that a child should grow in. So now as adults, I'm still dealing with that trauma from my childhood. That's what put me in this business that I'm in right now.
Wow. What were your family dynamics like when you were younger?
Oh, trauma. My family dynamics were rooted in trauma. And I think the trauma really started, and we don't talk about this a lot. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he was in the Army. He enlisted in the Army at 16 years old. And he caught injuries from being in the Army. And a lot of those caused mental health issues. So when he came back, from serving in Germany, he had a lot of mental health issues, and they did the black soldiers really dirty. So he didn't even get full benefits. He was still dealing with racism, and he took a lot of that stuff out on his family.
Right.
So as you know, trauma is, it's like tag you're it. It spreads faster than COVID. So there was a lot of mental health issues that existed within my family dynamic. But I feel like for me, I'm one of the first people in my family to actually break that generational curse, as I call it. And, it feels good. Sometimes I ask myself, like, why was I assigned this task? But it's because, God saw that, I had the heart to break this thing. And now I have a great relationship with my father. I have a great relationship with my mother because I've been doing this work. And I didn't go into denial about my issues. I addressed them head on. And that's the work that I do now.
As you internalized all the different experiences that you did growing up, did you ever feel in your early childhood that you would someday return and make things better? Were you thinking like that back then?
I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking that, I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't really have anybody that provided guidance, for as far as what is my outlook of adulthood look like? What do healthy relationships look like? How to be in a romantic relationship with a woman, or finances, or any of these things. So I had to learn as I grew. And, I was entering into a lot of toxic environments. And but there was something inside of me, and I call this my conscious, that always had a conscious. And I always knew that I loved helping people. And it was actually a social program by the National Council of Negro Women. It was a summer program that saved my life when I was 16 years old. I went from selling drugs to helping kids my age fill out job applications and do resumes. And that changed my life. This is why the importance of social programs and nonprofits, we have to support them. And that really set me, put me in alignment with my life's path, which is to help people. And that's what I love to do.
So a social program redirected your course in life when you were younger.
Absolutely. Shout out to Miss Betty, Miss Cassandra, Lady Todd. It was these amazing Black women who scooped me up. And, I had gold teeth in my mouth. I got nothing against that. I actually love gold teeth. I'm from New York. I had my hair, I had braids out the hair. I had this not give up attitude, not to curse. I had this attitude where I just didn't care. I wasn't worried about my future, but they made me realize that I do have a future. And it was a beautiful thing because they taught me altruism, which is living for something greater than yourself, having that giving spirit. And they brought it out of me by allowing me to be a part of this program and then hiring me and paying me money to help children, teenagers my age.
I find it very profound that you point out the champions that are counselors and social work programs. I find that profound because it seems like while you were flat out doing the wrong thing, selling drugs, you were able to kind of pivot at the moment where you got an opportunity to do something constructive, and it makes me think that if we just continue to have social programs, don't allow the social programs to be a part of your municipal budget cuts. Don't cut out the social programs, because the social programs will make a young man with his pants hanging off his butt, with gold teeth in his mouth, with hair hanging down his back, selling drugs, stop all that and change his life.
Right. And I want to be clear, I'm not judging anybody who dresses like that or whatever like that, because I'm about individuality. But, at a time when it's about your attitude, right? Your attitude, you are only going to go as far as your attitude. And my attitude was forget everybody. Nothing matters. I'm only living for right now. I don't care about future. I don't care about saving money. None of those things. So, they really taught me, they gave me a set of values that I never knew existed, because in my family, there was so much inner fighting, and just like a lot of American families, so much infighting, so much trauma, unresolved stuff. And still to this day, 60, 70 years old, there's a lot of families who have people that are fighting in their older age because they don't know how to express themselves or handle their emotions. So that job that they gave me, that one summer job, gave me a set of tools that I use even still to this day. They gave me emotional intelligence. They gave me values, principles. And, you know, though I'm not perfect, but, you know, I always had a reference point.
Right.
You know, that's the most important thing, a reference point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to expand that moment to say thank you to those folks, those counselors that come and get involved, because when you explain that period in your life, I'm thinking about the period in my life where, you know, the peer mediation program and the young man who led that, he probably was, you know, 20 or 21 years old, but I never forgot interacting with him on a daily basis and how he was positive and how, you know, I might want to have a conflict with somebody, or another student wants to have a conflict, but he's like, no, we don't have to solve this by fighting. We could solve this by, you know, resolving the issue. It's probably a communication error. And, you know, it's just counselors. They make a big impact growing up. And I think ironically, we kind of shun counseling when we get older, and we don't connect it that it's the same family of people. You had counselors who made a big impact then. Guess what? We need counselors to make a big impact now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, the thing is, I'm not a therapist. I'm not, you know, I don't even consider myself a counselor. I'm a guide, right? You know, and I'm being responsible with my influence. You know, I know a lot of people follow me. I've been in the scene for a long time. And I said, you know what, I can do something positive with this influence. So why don't I help guide you to your true self, your higher self? And, you know, I try not to judge anybody. I'll talk to anybody, you know, if you're going through it, if you're serious. You know, I do have programs that I've designed myself, but I'm a huge fan of therapy. I'm a huge fan of true healing and doing those things necessary that you need to do so you can live your full life and not be in a loop, you know, because there's a lot of people that don't possess the ability to understand conflict resolution, right? You just spoke about conflict resolution. There's people that the first thing that they want to do is fight. The first thing that they want to do is give up, you know, and they don't understand how to process their emotions. So that's what I help people do.
Let's take this moment to kind of break down what the loop is and how can we get out of the loop. And it might look different for men versus women, but let's see if we can educate each other a little bit about how to get out of the loop.
You know, there's a saying that the only true path to freedom is wisdom, right? The only true path to freedom is wisdom. And it didn't start for me until I started to self-educate myself. And when you are in a loop, you are literally processing the same information every day that is keeping you in the loop. You're not growing or learning anything, right? And the other thing about the loop is your ego is the one that puts you in that loop. And I don't demonize the ego because you need your ego, but the ego's job is to protect you, It thinks it's protecting you. And it doesn't allow anything to get close to you that makes you feel threatened or nervous or paranoid or anxiety filled. So the thing that I had to do was put my ego to the side and say, you know what? I need to step my game up as a man. I need to step my game up. So last year, even, you know, I went through some things. I said, wow, you know, I need to really dig deeper as a man and go to the next level. The only thing that is going to do that is if I put my ego to the side and I dedicate myself to educating myself about emotional intelligence, self-development, all of these things that can add on to my game. And it took me out of the loop, because that loop that I was in before years ago was self-doubt, negativity, negative self-talk, you know, brokenness, all of those things, allowing my trauma to rule my life. So I've started focusing on reprogramming my subconscious mind. That was the biggest thing that happened to me.
How did you deal with the discouragement from people who say, who do you think you are? You're talking different. You're talking different. You reading books. You can deep on me. Who do you think you are? You're not Jesus. You're not God. You can't. You know, the apple don't fall far from the tree. How did you deal with that discouragement? Was it there for you? Oh
man, it's there. You know, so I'll share a little something personal. You know, I've shared something very personal yesterday on my Instagram page. I've had the same. I have literally the same person stalking me for 8 years, right?
Okay.
Like, and I shared that story, and they're like low key obsessed with me. And this happens because I've been in the scene for a long time, and their goal is to just constantly tear me down, constantly tear me down. And I don't even know this woman. I found out who she was, but I decided not to pursue anything. But I remember she wrote something one time. She said, "Who does he think he is?" And I said, wow, I actually smiled at myself because I said, I'm going to show you who I am. And it wasn't me living for this person, but it was just like, wow, my energy is so powerful that it irritates people's spirits, right? And that's a person, for instance, that's stuck in a loop, right? They're stuck in a loop of worrying about other people. And I say this to anybody out there, sometimes when you get spiritual opposition, it's because you are growing out of your old self, and other people are stuck in their same shell and they don't want to get out of that. So when they see you growing and getting bigger and more people showing you love, it irritates their spirit, and it creates that jealousy and envy. That's none of my business. We all have our own personal journeys. And for me, I realized that, even if you talk about Jesus, like you talk about, even if you want to get religious, there has not been a religious figure that hasn't had some sort of opposition when all they want to do is help people, and I'm not super religious, but you have to expect opposition sometimes. You have to expect people to say negative things to you. Is because they are threatened by you.
Right.
And you're irritating their demons and their spirit. Right. And that's none of your business. Your business is to just stay in your God power, to stay in your light.
That's right.
And that's your only responsibility.
That's right. What do we do to build protection when you know that your paradigm has changed, because now you're more emotionally intelligent, you're more concerned with helping people, you're more concerned with your own perpetual happiness, but people out here are hurt, man. They want to attack you. How do we protect ourselves as we grow? Because I do see that we need to do both at the same time.
Right.
If you continue to go to the same bodega in the same corner store and you keep sticking out a little bit too much, eventually somebody's going to want to test your pockets.
Yeah. Man, I'm all about, I listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks. I listen to a lot of, positive stuff every day. I wake up every morning and I have my affirmations. Mm-hmm. I have my affirmations that I say. But I also designed something called the Gold Agreements. This is a part of my 8-week program that I have in the Rebel Camp. It's called the Gold Agreements. And your Gold Agreements are your personal principles, right? Because if you don't have principles, anybody could come along and do and say anything to you. So I designed my personal principles, and those personal principles are your personal truths. Those are your personal truths. So I stay true to my principles. I stay true to my principles no matter what. Nobody can tell me anything about myself because I know my principles and I know what I stand for. Another thing that I do is I get into alignment. I stay in vibrational alignment, and that's matching my conscious desires with my subconscious intentions. And I make sure that I get centered every morning. And to me, the morning time is the best time to do that. Is just make sure that you come back to yourself every day. Before you start your day, you come back to yourself, and you come back and you call your power back to you. And there's several ways to do that: through affirmations, through meditation. There's so many grounding techniques that you can use, writing down, journaling, all of these things. People thought I was, oh, you're trying to be Mr. Positive. I said, no, I choose a positive lifestyle because I did negative already. I've been in the dark forest. You haven't been in the dark forest. I've seen it. I'm never going back there. So getting control of my mind, but also getting control of my heart was the most important thing that I've ever done for my mental health. It was the most important thing I've ever done.
Do you feel that we all need to figure out how to get out of the loop?
Yeah, because this society assigns you a loop. It assigns you a loop. And it knows that most people are lazy and don't want to think for themselves or think outside the box. So you get a loop. You get a loop. I get a loop. He gets a loop. She gets a loop. And then we spend years feeling like, man, there's more out there. And we don't know how to get out of the loop when all we have to do is step outside of our comfort zone, right? Because that loop is comfortable. The loop is like this, is climate controlled, is very comfortable. There's food in the refrigerator sometimes, and you're on this constant loop. But once you are able to elevate your mind and elevate your heart, you will lift yourself out of that loop and you start seeing the expansiveness that is available to us. And I call that that's the fifth element, expansiveness. Expansiveness. And that's what we should be focused on in 2021. There are no limitations. There really aren't.
So 2021 is the year where, after all this information we've been getting, we realize that there's another compartment to my soul that I need to be accessing. There is another compartment to my existence that I need to be accessing so that I can get out of the loop. And if I don't access more of myself, then I'm going to continue to be either hyper masculine or hyper feminine and continue to appear as though I'm handicapped.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that emergence of feminine and masculine is getting more popular. This conversation, we talk about divine masculine, we talk about divine feminine, and I'm not going to get too much into that. But I think it's really smart for us to understand that we all have a masculine side and we all have a feminine side, right? And it's best when we are able to merge those together. We merge those together so we can have a deeper understanding of ourselves. Because when somebody's hyper masculine, something's off. When somebody's too feminine, they may be, and not in their divine, like not in their power. There may be something off there. But when you're able to merge those two things together, you have balance, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely important to see, in my opinion, to see what else is out there for you.
I think that you are into some of the most important work that can be done in humanity today. This conversation right here is being had by leaders the world over, from generations in the past and for generations to come. And what we've got to do is make this common understanding. And so we're going to make this a victorious moment for our publics by making it plain. You can't just be left. You've got to be left and right. If you're not left and right, then you're off balance. You're incomplete.
Right.
You're incomplete. And it needs to be a law amongst us. How they say, unwritten law, unspoken law, right? That you have to be balanced. You have to acknowledge your left and your right.
Right.
Gone are the days where we're looking for everybody to be right-handed and left-minded, or left-handed and right-minded. We should be encouraging each other in a simple way to be ambidextrous from inside out. As a matter of fact, inside could be the left, outside could be the right. If all you think about is the outside, you're handicapped. If all you think about is your inside, you're handicapped. And we need to be able to say that and move on to higher levels of conversation, because too many people get wrapped up in that loop. Oh, the fact that there is a divine masculine and a divine feminine, it's a turnoff for the most simple of us. And we need to develop ways to get our people to digest that no matter what.
Yeah. And when you embrace both sides, it's the only way to get centered, in my opinion, right? It's like the scale. I'm a Libra, but when you embrace both sides, to me, it's truly the only way to get centered. Some days I have to be more of one than the other, right? But man, there's so much embracing that is starting to happen, even amongst people that I know that are super hardcore and scared of themselves. Now, I look at it differently. When somebody doesn't want to talk about their trauma or emotions, I look at it differently. I show them compassion, because the loop doesn't really afford us the opportunity to get to know ourselves on a deeper level. So I show that compassion. This is why I do talk to everybody, right? I do talk to everybody. Like, I never think I'm better than somebody or whatever. Like, I actually, when you're doing this work, you have to care about other people. And I'm strong enough and I'm built for this. So I embrace it because it's not about me. It's about you. In this line of work, it's about you.
Right. That's right. I think that the loop is a great theme for this conversation because it's the loop that causes so many symptoms of disease in our families and in our communities. It's the loop. Yeah. It's the loop that is causing stress. It's the loop that's causing heart disease, mental disease. It's the loop that's causing anxiety. We got to break out of the loop.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah. Break out of the loop. You know, we've got to get to the point where we could check on that at the drop of a dime. As soon as I meet you, are you stuck in the loop or not?
Right. Financially, even from a health standpoint, romantically, what mistakes do you keep making that are getting you the same results?
Yeah.
And that's, in the work that we do at the Rebel Camp, which is my self-development platform, it really is focused on getting people to start conversations, these conversations and make them feel comfortable in those conversations. And then they're more likely to start changing their lives and start doing that work. I'm all about the work because there's so many places that you can go and just talk.
Right.
So many places that you can go and just talk. Me, I'm about doing the work. You are not going to see results if you don't do the work. There's a lot of people out here trying to teach you magic tricks and there's a secret this and secret that. Right. It's no secret.
No more secrets.
No more secrets.
No more secrets.
Yeah. Like the information needs to be shared. Sometimes it comes with a price, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're really serious, you're going to invest. You're going to invest. There is a price for certain things because when we doing this energy work, folks got to know you serious because you taking up my time.
Right.
And one of the things that we created with the Rebel Camp was the Inner Warriorship Academy. And the Inner Warriorship Academy is an accountability community focused on self-development. And I have my own app, I have my own community, and it's really an amazing place where people are holding themselves accountable to their goals and leveling up in life. So I'm really excited about that. Just quick plug.
Absolutely. This is what we need to change our paradigm to. There is value in you spending your soul to save mine. Anybody knows after a long day's work, you're not just physically tired, you are emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
You understand? And so you gave value. Spending your soul to save the soul of others is what we have to see as worthy of financial, emotional, and social exchange. We'll be right back after this brief message. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator. Hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Oshim, how you feeling out there?
Man, I love it, man. This platform is amazing. I want to give you your flowers now, man. Thank you so much for even creating this, man. Kudos to you.
Without a doubt, I started this platform because when I was younger, I wanted to be able to relate to people from all walks of life, and I didn't just want it to be about myself. And so it truly is wonderful when you can come here and express your journey and your philosophies, because then we get to crystallize things that make sense. And we can say, I'm having a hard time explaining that which I want you to understand. But if you watch this episode right here, where I was engaged in conversation, we put it plainly in that conversation. And so that is the reality of what we're doing today. We're doing the work right now.
Right. Yeah, and that is the 2021 theme. Do the work. Yeah, you have no choice now. You have to do the work.
Yep.
There's no more excuse making. Nobody is going to come save you. This life is 100% your responsibility. And when I had that realization, right, because at some point we do adopt that victim mindset. We do have that victim mindset, like this is not fair, that's not fair. But man, how far you go in this life and this existence is solely up to you. So yeah, doing the work means everything to me. I wake up every day, but I want to be clear when we talk about doing the work, and that's more so elevating your game, mind, body, and soul, that holy trinity, elevating those things. You can still have fun.
Oh yeah.
Life is about having fun. It's about smiling as much as possible, and laughing as much as possible. You can still have fun when you do the work.
I think it's up to people who are leaders of their communities. How you doing, Uncle Tremaine? That's my guy right there. I think it's up to folks who are our leaders in their communities to create a solution that's not just a solution, but something that feels good, sounds good, looks good, tastes good. We're responsible for making our solution attractive. I think we're responsible for that. And I agree with you. It does need to be fun, because how did you feel? How did you feel in the 11th grade watching Bill Nye the Science Guy? If that wasn't your thing, And so with an emergency like the one that we face today, where so many people are stuck in a loop, whether you call it the rat race or you call it, same day, different time, people talk about it in different ways, but we are in an emergency where we need to get out of this loop. Realize that the loop is a figure eight, and continue into yourself. Fill out.
Right.
Grow up.
Right. And that's the thing. I even look at it like this, right? With Corona, for instance, COVID-19, people were begging to work from home for years. Oh, I want to work from home. I want to work from home. And COVID-19 gave you the opportunity to work from home, right? And people were still complaining, right? You're still complaining. You don't even have to get dressed anymore to go make money, and you're still gainfully employed for some people. That in itself, you should be thankful for, and take that opportunity and say, okay, now I'm going to use the extra time that I have, the free time that I have, to build something for myself now. I'm going to go back to school or take a course. But you got to be engaged. You have to, like I said, you have to tap into a certain frequency creatively if you want to change your circumstances well. To me, creativity is the way to change your life. If you are not a creative person, you can learn how to be creative. I believe that you can learn how to be a creative person. It's just putting in the time, paying attention. Even this is how I opened up my creativity. I started to get into art. I started to get into different types of music. The neighborhood I grew up in was like hip hop clothes, hip hop slang, and da da da. So that's the culture I grew up in. I started to step outside of that a little bit and see what's going on. And it helped me so much with making my business unique. And I've only been doing the Rebel Camp for 5 months. And I remember this online guru saying this. He was discouraging people from starting a network like you did. He said, good luck starting a network. It's going to take you 10 years. And I looked at that and I said, oh my God, that's terrible advice. Like, what are you telling people? Right. And I was able to do it in 5 months. This is extreme dedication.
Wow.
But you have to step outside of your creative comfort zone. Step outside of your comfort zone.
Right. Erica Marie says Rebel Camp. She says,
hey, that's my homie. That's Erica is in the Rebel Camp. She's also in the Inner Warriorship Academy. She is absolutely one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life.
Also, we have a comment. Yolanda Riley says, you always have to understand creativity can mean something different to everyone. So, and I think that's a good point too. Some people are finding creativity when they're on the grill.
Yep.
Some people find creativity when they're painting their home.
Yep.
Some people find creativity when they discover new music. You know, I find creativity in cutting hair. I'm a barber.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we're on to something. Are we latching on to an aspect of creativity in our lives? And is that the key to getting out of the loop? Let's connect those dots.
Yeah, it's a part of what I call the great pivot. So in 2020, there was the great pivot. A lot of people, and Yolanda, you're absolutely right. Being creative means different things to different people. And we've had to, say, all right, well, shoot, man, I got these bills coming. But the first is coming. I got to pay the rent. I got to do this. So people have been forced to be creative financially, be creative in so many different ways. But I think it is a great way to get out of the loop. We had this thing that I call, like I said, just going back to it, called the great pivot, where we've had to pivot professionally. A lot of people had to pivot professionally. And in that came this spurt of creativity, and people flex muscles that they never knew they had.
Right.
You flex muscles that they never knew they had. And once you take it to that point, you can't go back. So now you're interested in going further. Like, okay, I did this. I came up with the rent, and I did in 5 days. I didn't know how I was going to do that. Okay, let me take it to another level, right? And that's the beautiful thing about being pushed outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes being forced outside of your comfort zone, because we have a survival nature as humans. Right. But I believe everybody can tap into that frequency, because it is a frequency. All you have to do is be able to tap into it. But to tap into that frequency, it's not enough to be present. You have to be available. You don't always say this. When you were in school, they call your name, Cedric Riley, you be like, present. You present, but you're not available, right? So you got to be available mainly for the work that you need to do, showing up for yourself.
In other words, you've got to buy in. You've got to buy into your own growth.
Ain't no dipping the pinky toe, and you got to jump in.
Right.
The deep waters.
I keep hearing you mention frequencies, and I think of people who say, "What is a frequency? I don't have that. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't get it." Talk to us about the reality of frequencies in human beings. Talk about it.
Well, everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything moves, and we're talking about universal laws, right? Everything moves. So even right now, we're creating a frequency.
That's right.
We're creating a frequency. Where are you located?
Brooklyn, New York.
You're all the way in Brooklyn, New York. I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia right now. Mm-hmm. Erica is on here. She's in LA. My home
from Midwest.
Yeah, Selena is in Utah, right? So now we are creating a frequency, and once you create that frequency, you create that wave, and now everybody else wants to jump on that wave. And this is what it takes, right? So I'm tapping into your frequency by being on America's Next Motivator, which is amazing. So I'm supporting your frequency, and then you get to support my frequency with the Rebel Camp. Like, it's a win-win situation. But if you're not tapped in, like, this really, like, you're dead. Right. You're dead. So I always say this, like, if you don't know how to create your own frequency, tap into somebody else's frequency and be inspired and get inspired. And that's the way you create your movement, right? That's the way you create your movement. But I always say this, I'm available, I'm present, I'm tapped in. So I'm constantly creating new frequencies every day. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm starting a conversation on my platform, and it's something that people never thought about before. So now they're going to go off on their own, create their own frequency, which is going to turn into a wave, and which is going to usher people into something new.
That's right.
So for me, it's about energy exchange, and I just try to keep my mind, body, and soul aligned so I can easily tap into these frequencies almost instantly. I'm tapping into the money frequency right now.
That's right. Selena says, "Yep, we're all over." So you got support in the building.
Yeah, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing, man. Cedric, bro, I tapped in last year. I went through the hardest year, just like a lot of people, but I welcomed it because I'm a warrior.
Right.
You know, I'm a warrior, so I welcomed it.
You know, I think it's the case that while we have to get into this concept, I like the way that you speak because it allows me to create new images with my comments as well. And it sounds like if a certain community was stuck in a certain place, in order to move from that certain place, they need to get on the same frequency. And then, as you said, that would create movement. So you definitely just gave us another key, which is get on the same frequency, or like people say, get on the same accord. And once you do that, it creates movement. But I think that ongoing programs assist with that movement. And it sounds like that's also where you come in with the Rebel Camp.
Yes.
So what is the Rebel Camp exactly?
Whew, man, the Rebel Camp, man. Oh my God. You know, well, the Rebel Camp is my self-development platform. I kind of stayed away. I'm moving away from the word spirituality. You know, everything is spiritual. So the Rebel Camp is a self-development platform helping people tap into their true divine power. And I do that through the creation of videos, content creation, conversations that are more conscious based. And it's allowed me to create content that has changed people's lives. So with the Rebel Camp, I'm looking at it more from a production company now, because even that has changed for me. And the first project that the Rebel Camp created actually was our 8-week program called the Inner Warriorship Program. I created the Inner Warriorship Program over the summer. And Cedric, when I mean I locked myself in a room some days in the studio writing for hours, there'd be times I was in the studio for 3 days at a time in the same clothes because I was so dedicated. That program was to help people discover their inner warrior. So that was the first project that I created with the Rebel Camp. And I made that available for people who wanted to purchase that. After that, I was inspired to start my own academy called the Inner Warriorship Academy, which was all about tapping into that warrior spirit and helping people elevate their game, mind, body, and soul. The Inner Warriorship Academy's focus is on personal and professional development, spiritual development, and economic empowerment. And it's not like, I always tell people, like, if you're looking for a place to mindlessly talk about, like, last night's episode of something, that's not the place. We in here doing the work. So I provide programs in that. We do events, and I've bought my network. I have a ridiculous network. So I have all these guides and teachers that come in to teach workshops every month. So the first workshop for the first semester is on January 5th. It's by Bless Roxwell. It's called Reframing the Vision for Your Life. And that is, we're going to be doing work. I told them, get your pen and pads. Then we're going to be doing an event teaching about stock market and crypto. So it's a little all over. Then we do meditation, singing bowls. We do fitness classes, but we do it as a group. We do it as a community.
I am seeing that you stepped out of the mold. You stepped out of the mold of going through the traditional pathways to success. And you said, just like ancient minds have in the past, I could start my own academy.
Yeah.
Where did you get the audacity to do that?
It's funny because I had gave somebody else close to me the idea 2 years ago. And, I came up with, the concept, and I realized that I was giving my good ideas away to people because I was too lazy to start them on my own. So when I finally tapped into my frequency and said, man, I'm building like a god out here. It came to me when I was actually riding my motorcycle, which is so funny. That's a form of meditation for me. And I said, you know what? I want to start my own academy, but I want to be the principal of that academy. I don't want to be the guy that's just, everything is my point of view, right? So I have this network of healers, guides, teachers, professors, therapists, all these people, stock market people, I said, man, why don't I just bring it to one place and I can influence them to teach workshops? They already do this already. And then occasionally I hop in and teach what I know. And it just came to me because I have such a broad network. I just put this in one place and intellectualized it and said, hey, let's level up together. And this I call a communitas. A communitas is a Latin word, and it means a community where everyone is equal.
Okay.
Because one of the things that I see with these communities are these egomaniac-driven self-development people and spiritual teachers, and then it turns into a cult. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that. I'm like, you teach me something, and I could teach you something. This is an even exchange, and that's what I like about this community that we're building. So
it seems like there are so many coaches out here. I know we're in the age of information. We're in the information age. And just evaluate this with me. Now is the time where you're going to have 1 million coaches. Yeah. You're going to have a million teachers on life. You're going to have 1 million people offering courses. And that's okay. Because that's the age that we're in.
Yeah.
So don't look at it like the Rebel Camp is just another one of the 400 opportunities there are for self-development. It's that this is the era that we're in. We're in the era of providing knowledge to one another for the collective upliftment of humanity. So it's totally fine that the Rebel Camp exists, and it's totally viable for me to buy into your program. Because guess what? One day I need to turn around and I need to give back the same way. Everybody be encouraged out there to create a course.
Yeah.
We're raising awareness that the paradigm has shifted. The times have changed. We're in a new era now.
Yeah.
It's time for us to start giving back something to life. Life has showed us a whole lot over the past 1,000 years. Life has showed us a whole lot. Now it's time to start showing the universe that we heard it.
Yes, yes. Cedric, you're so right, man. Like, I told people, especially with Black people, everybody's like, oh, everybody wants to do this now. I said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody's waking up now.
That's right.
I don't see people as competition. I never have. Like, once you start going down that route, you are losing yourself. And I've watched people go from making $30,000 a month to completely flat broke because they're so busy competing and treating the spiritual community and the self-development community like it's battle rap. This is not a battle. It's not a competition.
Yeah.
Our goal is ascension, right? It's essential. Wow. And to understand ourselves on a deeper level. So if I'm in a room with 5 different life coaches, I don't look at it like, and I'm not a life coach. They shouldn't be looking at it like competition. They should be looking at it like, yo, we're creating this powerful network. There's 7 billion plus people on this planet. There's enough to go around. Like, you just have to find out what makes you unique. And even if you look at my content, the promotional stuff, the images that I use, the wording, it's unique to me. It's nothing new that people haven't seen before, but it's just unique to me. It's the way you do it, right? You got to have your own swagger. This is why tapping into different frequencies and finally figuring out what it is that makes you unique is very key.
Right.
So, we out of that crabs in the barrel mindset. We out of that. We're not doing that for 2021.
Right.
If you ain't working together with the community, if you're not investing in self-development, you are going to lose.
So I think that you're really on to something. And not only are you on to something, but you're pioneering it, you're developing it, and you're making it available to people. Right. People need programs. You look around and your life is dull because you don't have good camaraderie with enough people. And so we need the Rebel Camp. And you're also right that if it's 4 or 5 coaches available to you, it shows that those 4 or 5 people are members of the Age of Enlightenment. And you should also seek to be a member of the Age of Enlightenment. Let's start paying one another, investing in one another, and growing together. I mean, financial exchange, it can't be a curse word no more.
Oh man.
And I think we got to give each other permission. We got to give each other permission to build an enterprise, you know, and get money for what you're offering to people.
Right.
If I'm stuck in the loop and you and I are at the bar at the barbershop or the bus stop, and my conversation with you leads to me joining your program and it changes my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need to give each other permission to say, listen, I'm going to send you an invoice.
Right. Right.
We need to normalize paying one another for adding specific values to one another's lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge barrier to our breakthrough into the self-development market.
Yeah.
Is that I've got to tuck in my desire to grow financially. So we got to give each other permission to not have to tuck that in. Guess what? I put my whole life experience into a course. That course is worth the price that I say is worth. Pay it.
Word. And you know, it's funny, Cedric. I have my course, my 8-week course, which I put a lot of time and energy into, is $3.99, and it was the first thing that I ever put on sale for the Rebel Camp. And somebody said, "Oh, he's charging $3.99. I don't even charge $3.99." And this was somebody who has a big network. And I said, well, maybe you're making a mistake, you know, right? Because I'm not going to argue about my value. That program is a life-changing program. And there's people in here right now that are taking that program and it's changing their lives. So how do you put a value on that? You know,
I want to jump off onto this tangent right here.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the reasons why we find ourselves playing catch up. Now, what you're doing is huge and it's valuable, right? We live in a society where, let's keep it real, we need $10,000 a week.
Straight up. Yeah.
Yeah. We need $10,000 a week, y'all. You're not realizing it? You didn't hold up. You didn't do the math and realize that you're paying at least $11,000 in bills every month.
Oh my God.
And if you've taken any type of a business course or class, they tell you if you want to make money off something, guess what? You need to charge at least 3 times the value of it, right?
Right.
So if I'm paying $10,000 a month in bills, in order for me to be able to profitably live my life, I need to be making at least 3 times that per month.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So hello, are we connecting the appropriate dots in this conversation? This is like the unification of the belts in boxing. You and I talking right now.
Right, right.
We need to figure out how to make $10,000 a week.
Man, listen.
Think about it.
And I'm going to do that this year.
Huh?
And I'm going to do that this year.
Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Like Cedric, people, when I tell you, Cedric, and I'm going to keep it all the way 100 with you, my brother. I am possibly the most confident man I have ever met in my life. There is nothing. I grew up with learning disabilities.
Let's go.
I grew up with learning disabilities. I grew up sleeping on a couch that had springs coming out of it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I grew up in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a violent household. I grew up in the crack era. And none of those things still define me.
Man, those things made you so valuable.
Yes.
Of course, your course is so valuable. Listen, we just engaged in a revolution in this hour right now. I am committed to purchasing your course this year, $399. I'm committed to that.
Wow.
This is what we need to start doing.
Crazy.
Now,
I love it.
For those folks who might be interested, I'm offering a motivational seminar at motivatefosterkids.com. It costs $199.
Okay.
Look around. The people who impress you the most when you get in the boardrooms, when you get into the financial districts, people are making $1 million a week.
Mm.
How do we look? Getting $1,000 a week, $1,500 a week, $1,800 a week, $2,000 a week. We look like we're in the loop.
Yes. And Cedric, first of all, thank you. And I want to purchase your program, right? So that money just gonna come right back to you. And I guess we just gonna keep exchanging money. and let me tell you something. I lived a really crazy lifestyle. I've been on private jets with billionaires and heard them complain about poor people. Right? And sat there and said to myself,
go ahead.
Oh my God, I have the photos to prove it. Like I've literally lived a life that most people only dream of. And I'll tell you like this, wealthy people only care about other wealthy people. So you're complaining about when you're complaining about spending $399 or $200 for your program, these people keep the money within themselves. As the guy who will remain nameless.
That's what Bobby King just said. That's right. The money in the community.
When this guy that I was having on a plane with was complaining about people in the community, we went to a restaurant. He was complaining that the 1%, only 1% of people pay taxes, blah, blah, blah. He sent $600,000 bank transfer. You know what I'm saying? Like money, it is your birthright. Abundance is your birthright.
Hold up. This is why we need to connect with one another. We are at the top of the hour. We can't go any further.
Oh, man.
I usually ask 3 questions that I won't ask today because clearly you've covered that topic. Today, we gave the community the permission to go out there and demand $10,000 a week, $100,000 a week. Go out there and demand value for yourself. Don't be laughed at for aiming low. Be respected for aiming high. I want to let you know, Oshim, that I've listened to your journey today. I respect the fact that you overcame adversities. I like how you overcame challenges and how you provided a solution to the community. I'm giving you your respect today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, get your crowns into the building because we're giving you your crown today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crowns in the chat. Give your crown today while you can still receive it. We're letting you know, letting the world know that you, Oshim Phoenix, you are America's next motivator.
Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop. Hey. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. This was one of the best interviews I've had, man. Thank you.
Thanks for staying there, all right?
All right, man.
Yes, sir. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by, just like you did today, and pick it up.